What is good, everybody? BGFX here. Welcome back to another brand new video. I got something a little bit different for y'all today. I actually got a real life video for the first time in a good little minute. But basically, what I'm gonna be doing today is going through a trade that I took for a New York session this morning. This was a EURUSD trade, and this was a 1 to 5 risk to reward. So put in 100, you get 500 back. Put in 1,000, you get 5,000 back, right? Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. This is a real textbook trade for me. Just decided to, hop on the markets, look for what they had to offer, and then basically execute. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna see y'all on the charts. Something I wanted to do because it's something that I don't see that many traders do often. On YouTube, you'll see a lot of breakdowns, you'll see a lot of reflections on trades. But I figured, why not, record it in the moment, and you guys can see how, how my thought process progresses as I'm in a trade setup. Because as y'all know, when you're in a trade, emotions come into play. You start to sometimes maybe second guess it. You might be in profits for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the market's spiking in the opposite direction against you. So I just wanted y'all to see a little bit of what it's like, how I try to stay calm during my positions and think very clearly and not have a fear of a loss or too overly excited about a win. It's just more of following my process and taking every trade that is mine. And that's something I like to tell myself a lot. But basically, that has been it. It's been BGFX, and I'll see y'all on the charts. I'm out. Salute. Okay, what is good, everyone? This is going to be somewhat of a real-time breakdown for a position that I'm in right now on EURUSD. So I just want to check my mic, make sure it's working good, because I just recorded this. I was recording the first few minutes of this, and it wasn't actually picking up my audio, so I had to unplug my mic and plug it back in. So that's why I'm a little bit late to this. I actually got into this position about 5 minutes ago, right? And I'm currently sitting in decent profits. We're seeing a little bit of ranging going on here, but that's nothing that's really bothering me, as long as I'm, still early in my session, because I know that there's a potential for volume to come in. And if we have volatility, that equals out to opportunity. So like I said, I'm in these shorts. It's a 2.7 pip stop loss with a 14.3 pip reward. If it decides to trade back down into this level, which is what I'm expecting, this is going to be a 1 to 5 risk to reward. Right, so I try to let the markets decide everything. Sometimes I'll go for 1 to 10, sometimes I'll go for 1 to 5s. In this case, I'm looking for more of a short-term opportunity. So what I'm looking at now is I'm trying to see if price is going to violate this demand, right? Maybe consolidate and drop right through it, or if it's going to bounce off. But let's do a little breakdown as to why I'm selling this. So if we come to the 15-minute time frame and we look at what price delivery is looking like, we can see that this area here was responsible for some decent reaction. We can see that we had about 40, I believe. Yeah, about 40 pips of reaction off of this supply. Right, so we're seeing some reaction here. And we understand that there's big money involved, most likely, in this area, which is pushing price lower. So we can see that we do have a lot of supply. That supply is being held up. Now, for London, around London, I was looking to take these shorts, right? So it's a couple hours into London. I was looking to take these shorts, and this ended up missing my entry. But I mean, it's something that happens. It's part of really any trading plan. You can have wins, losses, break evens, miss entries. It's all factors. But the best thing to do is just stick to the plan. All right, so this missed entry by 2.5 pips. This would have been like a nearly potential 1 to 10. I was just going to target this previous low. It missed entry. So the key here is adaptability. I can miss this entry. I can get frustrated. I can step away from the charts. Or I can miss the entry, continue to read the delivery that price is offering me, and then execute either way. So, right, I understand that sellers will take control. We can see that this little supply here was respected. We see this demand fail, transition into supply, supply again. So I'm understanding that sellers are mostly holding control within this market environment. So I'm only going to be looking to follow that flow. So when I determine the trend, I'm not determining it really by a trend line or by support resistance levels. I'm going to be determined by the candlesticks relative to my areas of supply and demand, and how long price likes to stall at these levels. Is it clearing these levels? Where am I seeing fake outs at? Where is the liquidity at? So that's kind of the way I'm thinking. So I can see that overall volume is coming to the sell side, and I also know that this level to the left, right, if I look over here, was a supply that's being held strongly. If we take a look at what happened before this structure, right, because this is a couple hours into London, I get on the charts at around 2 a.m. every day. I see that buyers were basically taken out, and then sellers that took over down into this low. The return to the origin of that move would have been here, and then I would have just took the shorts, but that's all right. So I understand that we trade back up because this demand here is what was holding that control for buyers. And then we see, right, that when price meets this supply, when it meets this level, we accumulate enough sell orders for price to push down and overtake this demand. So I look at things from a place of like buyers versus sellers at all times, right? Seeing relatively what's stronger, because there's only a buyer and a seller in the market. Like, what else is there, you know? So I try to look and see what's most probable, who's in control. And we can see right now that we had a transition to where buyers were taking control, here, and then we trade through it, right? And then if you were to just compare, right, something I like to do sometimes is this. If I was to look at this, I'd ask myself, right, is this demand holding? Is this demand holding? Is this demand holding? So this is all weak buying taking place. It's all weak buying. So that weak buying is being overtaken by the sellers here, then the sellers here, more sellers here, and it's just a cumulative of super strong sell orders coming in the markets, pushing price in one direction. So I'm really just following that narrative. And that's one belief system that I always trade around. So we can see that demand is being held. So for now, we can see that we have a little bit of a spike in the market, but it's really not worrying me, right? Because I'm either going to be stopped out here, and that's going to give me some type of further intention, or I'm going to hit take profit, and then that's going to be just a decent payday. So one more thing I want to keep in mind is that I have this supply right here. So I'm going to make this a different color just because that's our current present level. I have this supply here, which is something I'm going to want to keep an eye on. And if this begins to trade lower, that's just going to let me know sellers here are going to overtake the buyers here. And that's letting me know that I'm going to be basically trading in the right direction. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what's in alignment with our current flow of current order flow in the markets. So I prefer for this high here not to be clear, right? And then from this point, I'm just going to target down there for a 1 to 5. And then also we can see that this demand, right, which at one point in time had price react super strongly off of it, we see price retrace a second time into it, this time a little bit deeper. So this could mean one of two things. This could mean large money is protecting their orders by price holding up this level, or it can be liquidity accumulating right here as our sell side volume is trading to the downside to clear up Asia's low as well as this double bottom. Now I'm going to be comfortable just taking my 1 to 5 to be completely honest with y'all. I'll look to take profits right here just because, I prefer to get in and out of the markets right now. A lot of this is going to be dependent on the way I'm feeling, depending on how I feel for the day. If I'm feeling like I can take an aggressive entry and go for a 1 to 10, I'll do it. But I'm just looking for something conservative right now, But mainly, right, another thing is that on the higher time frame, we've been super bearish, okay? We've been super bearish on the higher time frame. And what we're doing is we're playing the narrative that this supply here is being held. So I'm basically following that narrative. And I'm also playing the narrative and the belief that human psychology, the way it works, is that most people believe because it's low, they want to buy. Now, that buy low, sell high, it's a valid belief behind trading markets profitably. But you have to understand the real reason behind low and high, if it's a good deal or not, relative to where price is right now. So I see that supply is taking control. I'm not really looking to buy unless this supply was violated. And then at that point, I would still need to understand how bearish price delivery is. So what I'm not doing is I'm not looking over here and saying, oh, I think it's ready to buy. I think it's ready to buy. I think it's ready to buy. Although it is possible it rolls over at one of those points. And that's just a mental note that I'm going to be keeping in mind. But doing that on the H4 is like me doing this. Is it ready to buy here? Is it ready to buy here? Is it ready to buy here? So it's that perspective switch of not trying to guess, not trying to predict, but actually to react what delivery is showing you in the present moment. Okay? So I hope that makes sense to y'all. So yeah, I'm still in the shorts right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step away for a second. I'm gonna speed this up, and when I actually get this video posted for y'all, and I'm gonna go ahead and be back in a second. I'll just throw some music over it. You guys can go ahead and watch the delivery. So it's been BG. I'm gonna speed this up. I'll be back when something happens. I don't want to just let it sit in the range for too long. I'm gonna step away from the markets, and I will come right back. See you guys in a second. Okay guys, I'm back. I was just basically letting price do its thing for a little bit, but it is very close to take profit right now. I was doing some annotations on the screen as price was moving, so if you didn't catch that, you could go back and read it if you want. But basically, we can see that we had a little bit of a range, right? So we had this range in this area where there was kind of just a little bit of congestion, you can say. But the one thing I noticed, right, is this supply was still being held up top. So I still knew sellers were holding this high. And I also can see that this high right here was being respected after this mitigation and then after this mitigation and vice versa. So you can see that we're having a little bit of reaction to the left, but this reaction doesn't matter to me because back to what I was saying, that's like looking at this reaction. You see these minor spikes along the way, and they usually mean nothing as long as you're in the right direction. Now, we just need to see if it's going to want to come a little bit lower. I didn't take any partials for this position just because it was a little bit of a smaller trade, right? A 1 to 5. I just prefer to capture the whole thing. But I can see that for the most part, I'm having clear order flow in my direction. And basically all I was doing was following this sell side intention. So we're very close to TP being hit. Mainly looking for some quick volume to come into the markets. I have my TP set on MetaTrader. So when it reaches down, it should liquidate the position for me, right? So it's not that far from being hit. We'll see though. So this will be a 14.3 pip trade. So this is typically what I look for, right? Small stop losses with intention behind my entry. So that way, typically, it gets to my take profit a little bit quicker. Now you can see this decides to play around a little bit. I do believe this probably played around a lot because we have this news today. We have the manufacturing PMI, which I don't think is too significant. That's going to be hitting in like 10 minutes. But what was, of interest to me is because we had a speech from the president, right? So that can cause some accumulation, that can cause some uncertainty, that can cause some range in the market. Now, to me, it's looking like this is just going to continue down. Like I said, buyers are going to attempt to show their hands around these levels, but if you're in the right direction, you'll be able to notice this happen in real time, right? As your sell side order flows being respected, these little buy side clusters usually get reaction and then cleared out. So yeah, I'm just going to speed up the charts again and we'll see what it does next, and I'll see you guys in a minute. What's up everybody? So I'm now back on the charts again, and we can see that we're very close to TP. So we'll see what happens here. I'm definitely expecting it just to spike and finish off this little area. We see that high was respected in the box.